This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Thursday, the new Friday, August 11th, and today's pod, for so many reasons, is the best one
TBOY.
yet. TBOY. Grab the paddleboards, Jack. Tap the trees.
Nick and I are live IRL on the northeast shore of Lake Champlain.
It's an ab workout doing the pod on a paddleboard.
The stock market is so happy that we're podding in person.
Happy in person.
The Dow jumped 802 points yesterday.
It actually jumped 500 points. If you know, you know.
First story.
What do we got, Jack?
Overtime League started out as an Instagram account. Now it's a professional sports league.
Overtime. It isn't just any sports league. Overtime is a professional high school sports league.
For our second story, you know prices keep going up.
Yeah, they keep going up.
For the first time in a while, inflation paused.
Because inflation is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Our third and final story, Sweetgreen, just revealed they're so focused on tossing salads, they forgot to do one thing.
Sweetgreen forgot to do something else.
But before we hit that wonderful mix.
A wonderful mix to whip up together, Jack.
The Wall Street Journal just did a takedown on the Yetis.
Yeah, before you freak out, not you guys, not you Yetis, not our listeners of this pod.
No, the Wall Street Journal has no issue we're aware of the listeners of this pod.
We call you the Yetis because you are the best ones yet.
What the Wall Street Journal did take issue with was the cooler company named Yeti.
Here was the Wall Street Journal headline. Does anyone really need a $500 cooler?
You've all seen them. Yeti coolers, they claim to keep your drinks cold for 7 days.
7 days.
Even in the harshest, hottest environment.
But here's the thing, besties. You need a drink cold for 7 hours, not 7 days.
Oh, great. If I'm deserted in the desert, my White Claws will stay ice cold.
Here's the problem. You're not in the desert. You're on a glamping trip for like one night.
You're worried about your heated down comforter might run out of fluff.
You don't need something keeping your drinks cold for as long as an ice age.
Oh, Nick and I were thinking about it. And you know what the 7-day promise from Yeti actually is?
Here's what Jack and I are thinking. It's a classic case of more than I need marketing.
More than I need marketing.
More than I need
marketing. When companies
marketing.
promise something can do so much.
So much.
But you need it for like practically nothing.
For example, Jack, that Gillette razor with like 9 blades.
I need 1 blade now.
Or Jack, that MacBook computer with like 9,000 megahertz.
I don't even know how to get that many megahertz.
Jack, how about that Canada Goose jacket that's made for the Arctic tundra?
Sarah, you live in Scottsdale.
So Yetis, for today's pod, Jack and I went extra far. We whipped up 9 stories for you.
But we're going to hit 3 stories.
Let's hit 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in a dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, no one is raising venture money out there right now, but Overtime League, they just raised $100 million.
Because Overtime League figured out how to do professional high school sports.
All right, Yetis, full disclosure, this is Nick, this is Jack, and we're both 5'10" inches-ish.
We told our coaches, though, we're 5'11".
And then we got listed on our sports rosters as 6 foot.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been recruited to play in the Overtime League.
Pretty sure I told Molly on our first date at Shake Shack I was 6'1.5".
Did she have eyes to verify that
We were
that was...
seated. It was in a public garden.
Yetis, 6 years ago, an Instagram handle was born. It was called Overtime Sports.
Overtime Sports started on Instagram. They would post highlight videos of high school basketball stars.
You could follow on Instagram and watch like the future LeBron dunk on some 9-year-old.
Yeah, well, they ended up creating an entirely new thing out of that Instagram account.
They went from social media account to professional basketball league.
Here's the key. It's a professional high school basketball league.
Yes, Overtime told kids to ditch the traditional path to basketball stardom.
Like skip the middle school dance, put that bar mitzvah on hold.
Overtime thought that it was silly that high school kids, the top prospects, they go to Duke or Kentucky for 1 year. They have no time to study academics.
Oh, no time.
They don't get paid.
No, they don't.
And it's all just a 1-year layover before they get to the NBA.
So instead, Overtime said, here's the deal. Come to Atlanta, come to us, attend Overtime Academy, play professional basketball, and how much are they going to get paid, Jack?
$100,000 a year.
$100,000 for a 16-year-old to play basketball.
And you're going to build a huge social media following that you can monetize for the rest of your life.
Now, Yetis, here's what Jack and I find fascinating about this story. What Overtime did is build the audience before it built the product.
Right. Social media accounts first, league second.
Well, now Overtime is treating sports like a high school arts and crafts project.
This is really exciting.
It
They're
is.
getting creative because Overtime Elite is the flagship product. It's basketball.
Yeah, it's 3 teams, 9 players per team, 16 to 18-year-olds.
They play against each other, those 3 teams, and they play exhibition games against like the Harlem Globetrotters and international team.
But they didn't stop there. What's their newest sport, Jack?
7-on-7 football.
And not just any football. They're doing flag football like you used to play on the playground with your buddy Timmy.
No tackling, no helmets, no bulky pads, and no offense, no linemen.
No linemen included.
So every play is a high amplitude, like wicked fast, deep pass.
Insanely fast. You can't keep up. Speed kills.
Highlights.
And the CEO of Overtime just hinted that next they're doing boxing, so they just made some big news.
To finance growth, they just raised $100 million from the venture capital industry, and they're now worth $500 million.
And the investors are pro league. We're talking Jeff Bezos, Drake, Morgan Stanley.
The bank, not the D3
But
athlete.
here's the wildest part. Get this. 6% of all active NBA players have invested in this high school professional basketball startup.
That's what Overtime said. We found that shocking to believe.
Shocking.
Kevin Durant isn't invested.
6% of the NBA invested in this startup. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Overtime?
The sports industry depends on the TV industry.
Yes.
But Overtime broke that rule.
Yetis, we always mention on this pod that the NFL is the most marketable sport in the United States.
Why? TV deals.
TV deals.
Tech and media companies will pay billions per year to broadcast Sunday and Thursday and Monday night NFL games.
Jack, how many cable TV deals does Overtime high school sports have?
0.
0.
It's got none.
And they're fine with that.
Yetis, your uncle probably has no idea how to watch an Overtime Elite basketball game.
Yeah.
And Overtime is fine with that.
Yeah, because Overtime's audience is all under 24, a demographic that really just doesn't have cable TV anyway.
What is cable? These are cable nevers, cord nevers.
So Overtime produces 50 shows, and they're all on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. That's it.
So far, Overtime monetizes through ads, merchandise, and ticket sales.
Sports leagues need TV deals.
Overtime has proven they don't.
For our second story, hold it. We have shocking celebrity news.
Inflation just paused.
The reason this news is so huge.
Inflation is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Okay, Jack, we're here together. We went to college like right down the street, basically.
We did.
Okay, at that time, it was Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore.
Whatever Snooki and Mike the Situation did this week, that's what got the attention.
Then, a few years later, it was the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm. Kim, Chris, Kendall, whatever they were up to, whoever had a beef with them, that's who got the headlines.
Well, now the inflation report, that's the new celebrity.
Whatever happened to prices last month gets all the headlines.
The monthly jobs report is like so jealous right now.
The monthly jobs report has been replaced by the monthly inflation report as the talked about economic data.
And Yetis, we know it's been a year of rising prices for you, us, and your credit card.
Every month, inflation seems to hit another 40-year high.
Well, here was the shocking celebrity news.
Yesterday, we got the inflation report for the month of July.
We did.
And inflation paused.
Inflation prices actually didn't rise from June to July.
They didn't rise and they didn't fall either. They stayed the same for a month, and that was a big deal.
Now, here's the key. Yes, prices are still up 8.5% from last year.
But that's down from 9.1% the month before.
Here's the funny thing, besties. You probably already knew this, and that's because of one thing, the gas station.
Gas prices.
Gas prices.
You see gas prices every day. It's the only price tag
the only one
we see every day.
Literally on a billboard right there.
And you know gas prices are down. In fact, gasoline, nationwide average in this country,
This is
has
wild.
fallen 57 straight days.
We had a 57-day streak of gas prices falling. It ended like yesterday.
Isn't that Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak, 57.
It literally ended the day I drove like 300 miles to see you.
But we went from like $5.20 a gallon at the peak, which was horrible, to a still bad but much improved $4.01 per gallon.
Now, Jack, we should sprinkle on a little context here.
Yes, we're still paying too much for Pop-Tarts and everything we eat.
Yeah, food prices are up a tad from last month. So are flights and fashion and like all those Pop-Tarts.
But the overall pause in inflation and the specific gas price drop.
Yeah, Jack, those are small economic wins to celebrate.
Yes, they are.
Here they are.
This is our
Jack,
economy.
What's the takeaway for our buddies who are everyone in the economy?
Inflation is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yetis, so many variables go into why we're paying more for all this stuff.
The war in Ukraine, too much stimulus, supply chain snafus, and everyone wanting to eat Pop-Tarts while flying on an airplane in expensive
But
clothing.
the dirty secret about inflation, it's what we've always told you.
The more we talk about inflation, the more inflation we get.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we think inflation is coming, then that gives companies more cover to raise prices.
And if workers think inflation's coming, then they demand a pay raise to cover for it, and that raises inflation even more.
But this is what Jack and I were excited to tell you. The self-fulfilling prophecy of inflation, it goes the other direction too.
A key to ending inflation is if we start talking about ending inflation.
Because the more consumers like us talk about price drops, the more unacceptable it is for companies to like raise prices.
That's why this news is so big. It represents a narrative change in the inflation story.
It does.
And that could change the direction of the prophecy.
Because no matter the direction, inflation is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
Nick, you got introduced to the Robinhood app the old-fashioned way, right?
Yeah, I did. My girlfriend, now wife's older brother, who was that guy who worked in tech and like knew about the next iPhone before Apple did.
He told you about the Robinhood app?
He told me about the Robinhood app.
All right, so you signed up because you wanted to buy a stock.
Because like it was hard to figure out how to buy a stock when you're 25 and it's 2014.
Yeah, back then you had to find a broker, call a broker on the phone,
Call them.
pay a commission to that broker.
Instead of calling, suddenly there's this app. You just swipe and you could buy the stock.
Robinhood's interface felt as easy as ordering an Uber or snagging a sandwich on Seamless.
And it still is. So if you're not a Robinhood user yet and you want to get started, you can go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and you can choose, get this, a free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Certain limitations apply and all investments involve risk.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Robinhood, by the way, no longer affiliated with us or the podcast. For our third and final story, Sweetgreen Salads. They just announced they're shrinking their headquarters and they're moving into a smaller building.
Sounds like an HR move. It's actually a fundamental issue with their salad business.
All right, Jack, talk to me. When you want to stick your face into a bowl of root vegetables, what do you do? Where do you go?
Sweetgreen Yetis, it is our preferred bowl of plants.
Yeah, our old New York City headquarters in meatpacking, they were like right down the street from the Sweetgreen.
We ate there daily.
Actually, you get back and the curried cauliflower smell was on the microphones.
It doesn't wash off easy.
It doesn't.
So it was fitting when Sweetgreen IPO'd last year. Nick and I were excited to cover it, but the stock is down 68% since their November IPO.
All right, they just announced they opened 8 new salad restaurants in the past quarter. Revenue is up 45%.
We love reading Sweetgreen's earnings reports, but then the CEO said this.
Starting on Memorial Day, we began to see some softness. We're lowering our 2022 sales expectations.
But here's where things got ironic.
Yeah, they did.
Sweetgreen also announced they're moving out of their headquarters building and moving into a smaller building.
Okay, we repeat, Sweetgreen doesn't need as big an office anymore, apparently.
And that is a signal of a huge problem for Sweetgreen.
And here's why it's so ironic that Sweetgreen is downsizing their core office.
Sweetgreen depends on big office buildings because they sell lunch to office workers.
Jack and I jumped into their old IPO paperwork. They said the word office 11 times. That's more than they said the word salad.
Sweetgreen's core customer is a guy named Office Oliver.
Office Oliver.
He wants a healthy harvest bowl extremely fast so he can get back to his desk in Midtown and crunch some more numbers.
But Yetis, here's the problem.
Sweetgreen is not the only one with fewer people in the office and needing smaller offices.
This is the strange phenomenon right now. While people are back in the cities, fewer people are back at the office in their cities.
We know people are back in the cities because of yesterday's story.
Right.
In New York City, Only 1.9% of apartments are vacant.
If you want to go to New York and get an apartment, you're not going to get one. Like, good luck.
But for offices, you could get one.
You could.
Office vacancy is 10 times higher than apartment vacancy in New York City.
What was that stat we noticed in the Cushman & Wakefield?
They reported that New York City office real estate is 22% vacant as of the second quarter of this year.
All right. So, Jack, if Office Oliver is enjoying his apartment in New York City, but only hits his office 3 days a week,
then that is a 40% drop in the number of chicken pesto orders he makes at Sweetgreen.
So, Jack, hold the bread. What's the takeaway for our buddies over at Sweetgreen?
You can't keep serving the same salad, literally.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, Sweetgreen, they've perfected the office lunch business model.
They really have.
They really have.
It's such a fine product.
It is a fun product.
They're so focused on office lunches that they do bulk delivery of salads to lobbies of huge office buildings where they know that Sweetgreeners work.
But the data shows that their weekday lunch business may not come back 100%.
Sweetgreen doesn't seem prepared for the end of 5-day weekday warriors. Sweetgreen needs to pivot.
That's the way Jack and I see this. For example, Sweetgreen, you should be delivering pre-made salads to grocery stores.
That would be Sweetgreen for suburb salad.
Or Sweetgreen could start bottling their secret salad dressing.
Then you could have Sweetgreen for dinner.
Or Sweetgreen could launch an entirely new bar concept out of the same locations.
Sweetgreen for happy hour.
It's time for Sweetgreen to think outside the bowl, expand beyond Office Oliver.
You can't keep serving the same salad.
Literally. Jack, can you whip up the takeaways for us for the new Friday?
Overtime League expanded to 7-on-7 flag football, and boxing's next.
Yeah, it's breaking the rule that pro sports need TV deals.
For our second story, inflation, the most talked about number in the economy, paused last month.
Inflation, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in both directions.
And our third and final story, Sweetgreen just said they don't need such a big office.
No.
And they're not the only ones.
You can't keep serving the same salad. Literally.
But you make great salads.
Green goddess. You are, Sweetgreen, you are a green goddess. Now time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Prabodh Malgi from lovely Vernon Hills, Illinois.
We already told you that more people die from mosquito deaths than deaths from any other animal on Earth.
We also told you the box jellyfish is even scarier.
But Yetis keep kicking this fact up a notch.
Yeah, here's the deal. Besties, are you one of those people who you think you get bitten?
I'm not.
I get bitten all the time.
Others are getting bitten and I'm
that
not.
guy. I'm like, what am I? What's going on?
Well, if you're wondering if it's personal, it is personal.
Turns out the main reason why mosquitoes bite some people more than others is your genes.
Your genetics affect your natural body odors.
And those certain body odors attract mosquitoes more than others.
If you get bit a lot, it's because you're sweet.
It's not personal, except it's personal.
But it's personal that you taste good, which I would take as a compliment.
Honestly, I'm strutting it. Yetis, you look fantastic today. Jack, what's the plan tonight? What do we got going on?
Philo Ridge Farm.
Ooh, I like this.
Wonderful, beautiful restaurant with farm-to-table dining.
You're just living up the cliches while we're here. We're going to a farm. Of course, here we go. I didn't bring any overalls. I got nothing with me. I got a button down.
It's not an overall kind of place. This is a fancy farm.
One of those nude barns. Great.
Yetis, we got to get out of here.
We'll see you tomorrow. Can't wait. And before we go, happy birthday to Joanna, co-founder of Beach Babes, who has her annual 21st birthday in Marina Del Rey.
Annual 21st birthday.
Gotta have it every year.
And happy birthday to Cynthia Kareem in Laverne, California.
And Jason Raymond Werner, the vintner, just turned 34 in Portland, Oregon.
Happy birthday to Garrett Perdue in Tampa, Florida.
And Fall Walker, Greensboro, North Carolina, he's got a birthday.
Congrats to Ben Tarragon, who doubled his Ernst & Young annual bonus by going to Atlantic City.
You want to hang out with Ben.
And congrats to Kendall Alley for passing their final CPA exam.
And to the entire Boston University Business School class kicking off their MBA program, enjoy 8 straight days of networking events.
Terriers know business.
And just a thank you to Yeti Amber Benson, who designed Sit Down, Stand Up, and Sit Back Down Again cartoons for Jack and me.
Amber, you're the best one, Yeti.
Thank you.
And to anyone else celebrating something today, make it a T-boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. Nick and I both own stock of Robinhood.
And now a word from our sponsor, Robinhood.
The first time I tried to buy a stock, I got burned badly.
Is this when you wanted to buy a share of Ford? because you like the chassis over in Detroit?
Yes, I had $200, so I bought $200 of Ford stock. I didn't get $200 of Ford stock though. I got $192.
The commission fees.
By the time the stock climbed back to $200, I sold it. But again, I didn't get $200. I got $192 again.
Another commission fee.
The stock rose 8%, but I was down on my investment.
Because commission fees made small money investing impossible.
So Robinhood came in and killed commission fees.
And commissions are still dead in stock and crypto trading thanks to our sponsor.
If you're not investing on Robinhood yet, to get started, go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and choose a free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Certain limitations apply. For a list of other fees, view their fee schedule at rbnhd.co/fees.
All investments involve risk. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Oh, and by the way, Robinhood is no longer affiliated with us or the podcast.
And the stocks Jack just said are for illustrative purposes only and are not recommendations. We have another mosquito one, which is kind of related but interesting, from the Smithsonian Magazine, that what makes you more attracted to a mosquito is actually, above anything else, your genes.
What?
Yeah.
They like the smell of jeans?
GENES. Oh. But Adam, can we capture that for the pod?